What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ring the Bell Show, Philadelphia Sports Show here. I'm Chris Francesco, joined by the man who finally, after many, many months of extensive and brutal contract negotiations, Jason Miller is now exclusive to the Ring the Bell network. Jay, what's going on, man? This is your first time on the show. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. The intro really caught me off guard. I'm so used to just sitting in a bedroom and literally talking to a phone.
Yeah, like technologies, from our side has gotten significantly better. You're
Apparently.
somewhere. Yeah, you don't have to sit right across from me to do this stuff. Um,
Hmm.
so uh, let me kind of explain a little bit before we talk about an incredible 76ers victory just now that just ended moments ago against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but I kind of just want to give everybody an update of one, why we're here. You don't see the ring the bell banner. I mean, I'll put it up there, but because this is not a Philly show, but I'll put the overlay up there nonetheless. You'll have new ones coming very, very soon. So when I first started the Ring the Bell show, it was meant to be Philly's podcast, which is what it is. This is what we've grown to. We're at this point now where we have a really good audience. I'm stunned at the downloads that we've gotten with baseball, especially in Philadelphia. Nothing is happening right now. So with that being said, the goal for me since we started this was to eventually branch out and to do other shows. Whether it's somebody that wants to do an Eagles exclusive, Sixers exclusive, Flyers, et cetera, et cetera. Um, However, at some point, I wanted to make this an all encompassing Philadelphia sports show. And since it's the end of December, I wanted to let everybody know that beginning the very first week of January, the new flagship of this whole gamut that we've built here, it's going to be the Ring the Bell network, the Ring the Bell Philly show. Just to be very, very clear, Ring the Bell Phillies isn't going anywhere. That is always going to be around once baseball season starts. The Philly show will be once a week, which will go back to its normal, regularly scheduled program of Sunday nights, where we will recap the entire week that was and the week coming up for the Phillies. In terms of a solo Eagle show, that's something that we're going to be working on. That might be something we don't introduce probably until maybe closer to the draft. We'll see what happens with that. Flyers, maybe not so much. Sixers, maybe we'll see. The reason why Jay's here, to give a quick update, I've known Jay for close to 15 years now. He's one of my best friends. He's doesn't live in New Jersey or Philly at the moment. I'm trying to work on this. Everybody, trust me. It's been a daily grind for like 3 or 4 years now. But Jay lives down in Florida, which is basically Philadelphia South. But Jay is going to be a permanent piece of this flagship moving forward. He's going to be probably, along with Jason Kent, that the number 2 and number 3 cogs in this wheel for the main flagship here. We're going to be talking Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, and Eagles. It's going to be probably either once or twice a week once we get started, because with the Eagles now almost in the playoffs, Phillies in the offseason, but then you have the winter sports where, every day it's the Flyers or the 76ers. So there's always something to talk about. And that's why we're here. So beginning in January 2024, you will see the Ring the Bell flagship will become the Ring the Bell show, Ring the Bell Philadelphia Sports. We're expanding things here, which is awesome. More content, but most importantly for me, it's the quality of the content. And I think adding Jay is a mega, mega piece to that. Jay is brilliant. He's unfortunately another person I've now brought into the mix that will disagree with almost anything I say. But that's good. But Jay's incredible with basketball. He's tremendous with hockey, and obviously the other two as well. He's a 4-for-4 guy. And with that being said, there'll be more information coming down the line about what's going to be happening in January. But before we get to that, Ring the Bell is brought to you by SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek.com right now. Use our code ONTHEBUMP for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. big game on Friday night, Sixers Raptors. If you're looking to go to the game, SeatGeek.com. I'll help you get $20 off that purchase. So again, use our code ONTHEBUMP and get $20 off your very first ticket purchase over at SeatGeek.com. Manscaped.com. Baseball 20 gets you 20% off and free shipping on your order. Again, Manscaped.com. Use our code baseball20 for 20% off and free shipping off your order. All right, so let's cut to the chase here. Dude, the Philadelphia 76ers, it was close. When the third quarter, the Sixers go into the first half with a lead. They come out of the half kind of sluggish. You see that the Timberwolves fight their way back, take the lead a little bit there. But in the end, Joel Embiid puts up a 50-burger for the second time this season, 51-13 in 36 minutes to help the Sixers win 127-113. The Sixers are now 19-8 up against the 20, beating the now 20-6 Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's just not forget Tyrese Maxey threw in 35 in 37 minutes also tonight. So that's 86 points with 2 players, Jay. Now, I'm going to go to you, man. This kind of defeats and blows up the narrative of the last 24 hours that, the Sixers can whoop on the Pistons. They can whoop on the Hornets. But the second they went up against a team like the Bulls, who has a semi-decent roster, they couldn't beat them. Well, now they come into the team that, as of tonight, had technically the best record in the league and beats them by 14. What was your outlook on this one?
I mean, the way that the Timberwolves are playing this year, it's definitely been eye-opening. I think you're looking at if you going into this season, people would say like this is going to be the next superstar. Anthony Edwards is by far a superstar in this league. And if they don't know by then, they'll see it by the end of this year he's going to be the MVP race many years up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
But the Timberwolves are also built a little bit differently because they have 2 big men, which the NBA, you don't really even play big men. You play a lot of small ball. And for them to have Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, that's definitely an interesting tandem together, especially when you have a guy like Joel Embiid, because Rudy Gobert is Defensive Player of the Year, but he can't really guard on the perimeter. But you also have an athletic Karl Anthony Towns that could go out there. So it's definitely one of those things where I wouldn't expect him to put up 51. I know that the stats for Minnesota saying that, they're able to defend the center position very well. Obviously, Joel Embiid is not your normal center. You can have the argument him or Nikola Jokic 1 and 2, however you want to discuss that. Honestly, though, this is a deep team, and I just think that this was a team effort. I know that you're getting the 80 points between them, but Kelly Oubre, Tobias looked like he was slashing tonight, which is definitely a needed, which is definitely a needed thing for this team moving forward. But you got solid minutes from like Pat Bev tonight and Marquise Morris Sr. And it's just a really good team where there was definitely that downfall last year between Harden, Maxey, and Embiid. There were those limitations defensively where I think they are a better defensive team. And I just think that we're seeing Joel Embiid take the step needed right now in terms of every other year it was okay. Ben Simmons was the problem. James Harden was the problem. This, that, whatever. And it's like, okay, guess what? I'm no longer the problem. It's you got to play with me. I'm taking my talent to another level. I need everybody else to step up too. And I think he's finally showing that type of leadership and accountability that I think many Sixers fans were trying to defend, but also just that, like, I don't know if it's there because it just always seems to get hurt. But right now, he's playing better than I think that we've ever seen him play, which is scary to think about that.
It's scary. And, if you look at, for anyone who's stat nerds, I'm sure Jay has already looked into this, and I have as well. If you look at every metric, offensive metric compared to last year, Embiid's up. Like, he's better. Like, and he is, again, and admittedly, I'm sure there's going to be people as they start watching this will send comments in here about all the past few years that I've shredded the Sixers. I've hated the organization, which guess what? I am always accountable for things that I say, and I'm a human being. Basketball for a long time was probably my second favorite sport, up until the whole tanking thing happened. And Jay was very much a part of many arguments that him and I would have daily over it.
Uh,
Although I still think the process was a complete failure. I think it's moved on to this where Embiid has just reinvigorated this entire franchise moving forward. And what he's done, dude, year over year here, he's almost gotten to the point, Jay, where he's completely unguardable.
yeah, I agree. And I think another thing that you're talking about with all the metrics and everything like that, just look at the minutes played.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're in a world now where, with the
Time management. Yeah.
time
Load management, right?
management,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people, and I know that the NBA is trying to crack it down. Well, what if you just go up by 30 and you
Yeah,
don't have to play,
exactly. Yeah.
and you don't have to play the fourth quarter? It's not, they can't say like, hey, you guys are beating teams by too much. Like you have to play all four
Yeah.
quarters. That's not how that's working. But that also is saving the body a lot. Maybe there might be a game where Joel Embiid might need to sit out because of that load
Mhm.
management. All of a sudden, you're up by 25, middle of the third quarter, and you're like, well, if we pull
Yeah.
him out tonight, maybe it's a game where like they go from New York to Brooklyn or Philly to Brooklyn or something like that. Something not on a plane like a back to back, but like something that they can just get or buy a train where all of a sudden you're like, you know what, maybe he can actually play this game. Maybe not to the 35, 40 minutes, but I mean, 25, 30 minutes of Joel Embiid is a lot better than 0 minutes of Joel Embiid. So that's definitely one of the things that I think him taking his game to the next level has definitely helped.
But also, this is why, and it's something that we've talked about for a long time too, is why it's so important to have a legitimate number two, which Tyrese Maxey is. When you took Embiid out of this game for a while, Maxey completely took over the game for the Sixers. Like it was, and you even heard the Sixers announcer say, "Why do I for Kate Scott? Right? Is that her name? I
Yep.
think that's her name." She even said, like, this is something the Sixers we're looking for. Whereas it's okay to take Embiid out for quite a few minutes when you have a guy like Maxey who can come in and just take over for quite a few. And that's what he did tonight. When Embiid was off that court tonight, that third and a little bit in that fourth, Maxey just single handedly beat the Timberwolves.
I think that's the one difference between Tyrese Maxey than, let's say, James Harden. And it's not a knock on James Harden. It's not saying that. It's just saying James Harden has always, I mean, think of his like career. He went to Oklahoma. He started in Oklahoma City. He
Mm-hmm.
left. Why? Because he didn't want to play third wheel to Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Then he went to Houston, and
Yeah.
that did not work out. And then he said, okay, I'm going to go to Brooklyn. And then he was willing to be, the third wheel piece to that,
Mm-hmm.
with the big three that they had up there. And then he got sick and tired of it. And then he came to Philly, where I think when you're the guy and you think you're
Mm-hmm.
the guy, 1 and 1A, where Maxey knows that this is a Harden team. So when Harden's on the floor, he will defer to Max or he will defer to
Yeah.
Embiid. But when Embiid's off the floor, it's okay. I'm taking this team over right now. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
get everybody get on my back, play with me like that. And I think that's one of the
Exactly.
bigger differences between the two is there is a clear, it's not a 1 and 1A, it's a clear 1 and a clear 2, which I think definitely helped that team out a lot.
Absolutely agree. So now here, you have a guy like Embiid now who 45 games now, um, where he's had over 40 points in his career. It's insanity what he's been able to do. And then you look at what he's done, when Maxey's also on a roll. 14 times already this season, Maxey and Embiid have each scored over 25 points. So now, Jay, to kind of now moreover to what I just said, where the Sixers are right now, are they where you expected them to be? Are they better or are they worse than you expected at this point? Where are they to you?
If
Or do you not know
you
yet?
um I'll answer it twofold. They
Mhm.
are a lot better than I expected because of the James Harden drama. It was a
Yeah.
lot of, well, in the offseason, they're going to have money to spend. This was kind of like a gap year where it's almost like somebody got lost to injury, and it's like, okay, well, we can understand why they weren't competitive this year. the James Harden saga, everything like that. So they are a lot better right now than I anticipated because I didn't expect them. I expected that James Harden drama to linger on, or at least the repercussions of it would definitely linger on more than it has.
Hmm.
But I still don't think that this is the final team yet that's going to be going into the playoffs
Okay.
because of the flexibility that they've gained from the James Harden trade. So like while everybody can go Google the James Harden trade and it's like, hey, the Sixers acquired this, the Clippers acquired this. There's going to be more, I think, to the Sixers side in terms of that because they have expiring contracts. They have picks that they're able to now move for pieces that
Hmm.
I think that they're going to get, and I think the luxury that the Sixers have right now is you don't need to go out and get a superstar. You need to go out and get pieces to the puzzle. Where
Hmm.
I know that like everybody's thinking about the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell. That wouldn't work. That would stunt, I think, what they have
Mm.
going on right now.
Okay. So if you're looking at the third man, who's going to be the third man for the
That's me.
76ers come the trade deadline? We're at a point now where, it's probably something that we can at least definitely talk about. Because look, we've already heard, you've just mentioned the name Donovan Mitchell. We continuously hear the name of Zach Levine, right? I don't know why I
Levine,
always get that wrong. Yeah,
you're
Levine.
good.
See, one day I'll say Levine, the next day I'll say Levin. So I'm sorry. So you got Zach Levine, who keeps getting brought up. Who are you expecting them to make a serious run after? Because look, after you get to Embiid and Maxey, it's tough to see Tobias 9 points in 37 minutes. Kelly Oubre Jr. has 7 points in 30 minutes.
I mean, he's coming
You know,
back from injury.
yeah, which is I'm okay with that. Paul Reed had 8 points in 12 minutes. Um, uh, uh, what do you do? Because it's clear the team needs a third guy here, and we know who's the odd man out. And you even said it in our text group that it's got to be Tobias. Who do you bring in here that can gel with this roster going all the way into the playoffs?
Um, so if there is a team that I think it'll be a West Coast team.
Okay.
Um, I'm assuming Tobias is going to be a big chip because of that,
Yeah.
how much money. I think I personally, I am a huge Kelly Oubre fan. I think that he's able to do it. I think a name that I would like would be Laurie Markkinen coming out of Utah. Is averaging
Yeah.
23 8 with a assist and a half, but
Yep.
just he's on Utah. They're going to be in a rebuilding. I mean, you can flip a
Hmm.
first round pick. You can flip a first round pick. Try to put Tobias Harris on that too. It's just I don't know. He just seems like it'd be a perfect fit right now.
Hmm. Do you expect Daryl Morey to be highly active?
I expect him to be active on phone calls.
Mm,
Does that mean that they're going to pull off? I
right.
I think in terms of like the big trade that like it'll be the flashing one on ESPN and you're going to bring in everybody to start talking about it. I don't think it's going to be that type of trade. I think it'll
Okay.
be more or less filling out the positions of need
Hmm.
in terms of that.
Makes
Like
sense. Yeah.
I think D'Anthony Melton got hurt tonight. Hopefully he's not out for a while.
Hmm.
But you have if he can roll, you have Maxi with the backup of my goodness, why can I not think of his name right now? Oh my goodness. Pat Bev.
Yeah.
I think that that is a very good second point guard as a backup. Like I
Yep.
enjoy that. Just guys that can hit a three. That's really what they need. They need guys that can
Yeah.
hit open shots because playing with Joel Embiid, you're going to get
Hmm.
an open three. And the way that
Yep.
Tyrese Maxey can slash, you're going to get an open three. You just need guys that
Hmm.
can hit the shots. And I just unfortunately don't think that Tobias can hit as many shots as other people out there.
Right.
But also in the defense of Tobias Harris, you're not getting as many opportunities on a Sixers team that you would with a struggling team elsewhere.
Hmm. So do you see them adding a solid piece at the deadline and maybe going after bigger fish in the offseason? Is that what you think the plan is here?
I think you're gonna get if I had to make a decision, I think Tobias is gone by the deadline.
Okay.
I think that there will be a trade for a new starter. Um, Come the deadline, and I probably, if I mean, obviously, probably a bench piece or two, just based on. But I mean, obviously, things can change with injury. But
Hmm.
if we had to do it right now, if the trade deadline was tomorrow night, then I would say that Tobias probably is going to be on the move, and then add a bench piece or two, and that's really it.
All right. Man, that's wild. All right, so we're gonna take a pause for the calls here. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the most shocking team in like pro sports right now, and that's the Philadelphia Flyers. But first, first, I want you to do me a big solid here. I want you all to step into 2024 with confidence, and you're going to do that thanks to our friends, the leaders of below the waist grooming. Thank you to Manscaped, where resolutions are met and hairs are nearby kept. As the new year approaches, why not make self improvement a breeze by keeping your body well groomed? Introducing Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, the ultimate inclusive kit designed to help you feel clean cut and confident as you should. Featuring the powerhouse Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, this next gen trimmer ensures precision and ease when tackling your toughest hairs. So kick off 2024 with a trim above the rest. Use our code baseball20 at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. All right, so let's talk just for a couple minutes here. The Philadelphia Flyers, Jay. What the hell is going on? Is is John Tortorella that much of an just a master of sorcery with a young hockey roster? Because this is a team that was planning, they were planning on being in the bottom of the conference, the bottom of the league here this year. Apparently, Tortorella and the rest of that roster there got that memo and immediately put it in a shredder somewhere because, dude, this hockey team's pretty damn good. Um, what do you make of this? Like, how do you even explain this?
I mean, the quote John Tortorella, they got balls. It just I just think it's a very sound defensive team. I
Mhm.
don't think you're gonna. It sounds weird that thinking about that, but I just think that they are just a good defensive team that
Yeah.
can score. I think according to what is that Corsi? Is that what
Mhm.
it is? Where they do like the
Yep.
efficiencies,
Yep.
the Walker and man, I cannot think of the names tonight. Wow, Sealer. Walker
Correct. Excellent.
Steeler. I mean, that's your
Mhm.
third. That's your third pair, and they're according to that, they're the third best pairing in the whole entire league.
Yep.
That definitely says something about that. I mean, and you really think about it, Cam York is your number one defenseman, and there are teams that have two better defensemen than Cam York, but somehow it's just working. And
It
maybe it
really
just
is.
has to do it's definitely the goaltending tandem right now with Erickson and Hart.
So when you
No.
have and I was saying this to our main man Zach the other day, who, in his probably 12th phone call to me of the day, was bringing up. He finally agreed with my thought process here, where there's really, and I don't mean this in any slight against Carter Hart at all, but he's due for a contract at the end of the year. You're looking at
Right.
probably between $5 to $6 million a year, probably around that 5.5 number. When you got Urson, who's making $800,000 a year for the next 2 or 3 seasons, playing as well as he has, there's really no reason to keep Carter Hart in Philadelphia. And I don't. Again, he's playing really good hockey as a goaltender this year, but so is Urson. If you're the Flyers, Jay, and you've already told the media, you've told your fan base that you're sticking to this plan of a complete rebuild. Is the way with the way Urson's playing, should Carter Hart be in their future?
It's so tough because everybody wants to say yes because I think that you think of all the Flyers teams in the past that have like broken our
Yeah.
hearts. It's always been, man, if we had a goaltender, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden all we heard about was this guy named Carter Hart coming along
Yep.
and how he was
Yeah.
this goalie prospect, and then we
Mhm.
got him, but then the rest of the team sucked.
Mhm.
But now that they are building back, and all of a sudden, I mean, stay the course. But if you don't think that he's in the long term plan, then you gotta, do what's best for business, and you just have to get
Yeah.
your assets and just try to build through that. I mean, if you really think about it, I would still say that the two most talented offensive gifted players for the Flyers aren't well in the Flyers organizations haven't even touched the Flyers jersey
Yeah.
yet on the
I
ice.
agree.
I mean, one's playing in college and one's lighting up the KHL in the way that no one's ever seen someone light up the KHL, which is definitely a
Yeah.
telling sign about that.
Yep. Mhm. And if you look at, the Flyers right now, they're second in the Metro. Um, they're 18, 10 and 3, 39 points. They're 7, 1 and 2 in their last 10 games. They've given up the almost like they're like top 5 in the top 3 in the NHL, top 4 and goals against. They've also got 93 goals. So they're plus their differentials 12, which is something you just did not see. But the problem with the Flyers, the only problem that I see with them is they don't, like you just said, they don't have the goal scoring. So the goaltending has been so good. If the Flyers can score 3 or 4 goals a night, they're gonna win most of the time. Not almost every, it's not logical, but they're gonna win more often than not. However, if their goalie gives up more than 2 or 3, you're going to struggle. So on most nights, the Urson or Hart have to play really well to continuously give this team a shot. Because outside of Travis Konechny, Tippett is up and down, but has that ability to be a 30 goal scorer. Joel Farabee's doing Joel Farabee things. He'll score 3 goals in a week. You won't hear from him again for a month. Cam Atkinson is as invisible as they come. He scored 8 goals in the first week and a half of the season. He has not scored a goal in over a month and a half. But then, Sean Couturier is playing tremendous. Sean Couturier is playing way better than mostly everybody, including myself, expected him coming off the back surgeries. Setting this team up for the deadline coming up, Jay, guys like Sean Walker could net you a pretty good first round draft pick right now.
Oh yeah.
I know Travis Sanheim's playing very well, and he really is. But man, that's a contract that I would still try to unload if someone's willing to take it. With as well as he's playing, you could have a team that could take a lot of that contract, and you might get a second round pick out of him. Do you still think that this team should be sellers?
They put up a stat last night during the game that 84% of the teams that are in the playoff spot come December 24th make the playoffs.
Oh boy,
I,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how long that stat's been, but that's what I saw. Um, but I think the thing you have to look at is it a cup winning team?
mm. I
Can
mean,
this team win?
obviously, no, right?
Right. It's
Yeah,
exceeding expectations. Can they
yeah,
win a cup? Unfortunately, no.
yeah.
But not with that being said, if all of a sudden, like you say, Sean Walker nets you a first or second round draft pick and you can flip, and I know, but then they have other pieces on, team friendly deals that they can swing
Mhm.
for draft picks. You just got to build it through the organization. I mean, it's going to sound weird, but I probably would still sell just because you got to
I
stick to
agree.
the course.
I agree, and that's where I am. And I'm not trying to say this to I'm not Joe Giulio. I'm not idiots like that who are trying to have a hot take just for the sake of creating a debate here. But again, we brought him up earlier, Carter Hart. If Erskine continues to play so well and you get to the trade deadline, injuries always happen in the NHL, especially goaltending. If a team comes calling to you and says, hey, we'll take Carter Hart off your hands for a first and a second, are you hanging up or are you saying go on?
I'm saying go on.
I agree.
I think you'd be stupid to say that. I
I
mean,
agree.
he's a great goaltender, but at the same
Mhm.
time, is he gonna, you know, you're gonna have
He
to you gotta have the
like
cap
does
space.
he want to be part of this for the next 2 or 3 years? Like that's
I
another
feel like
thing.
I feel like if your name gets brought up so much, eventually it gets to you, and it's just like, hey, probably would be better for all parties if we just went our
Yeah.
separate ways. Which I feel
Yeah.
like that's what it's going to come down to because I still feel like
Yeah.
everyone's going to still hinder on what they said earlier, and it's hey, we're in a rebuilding phase, no matter where we are. We're going to be
Yep.
rebuilding, and I just think that that's like the number one key piece that everybody's looking at is Carter Hart, Carter Hart, and I mean they've been mentioning the Edmonton Oilers for what? It seems like almost a year now.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Agreed. I mean, look, hey, the Flyers are also, they're not just beating bad teams here. They beat the Avalanche a little bit ago. Then they lost in overtime to the Preds. Then they beat the Capitals, shut out the Red Wings, and then they beat the Devils in overtime yesterday. Um, and they got some, they got that, I guess, like a West Coast gig coming up soon. They have the Preds coming up, then the Red Wings again, then the Canucks, Kraken, Flames, and Oilers. And then they come back home in the first week of January. Um, Man, that West Coast trip will be a tough one. But in your opinion, Jay, do you foresee the bottom dropping soon? Do you think this is a team that's going to hang on, like you said, and maybe sneak into the playoffs, or is this just going to be another one of those, very reminiscent of the 2019 and 20 New York Islanders, who were very steady on defense, didn't have a great offense, had a very good goalie. This is a very almost identical way where I think the Flyers are actually a little better offensively than those Islander teams. So what do you expect? Do you think the shoe's going to drop? The other shoe's just going to drop soon, or this might go on for a little bit?
I think the West Coast trip is definitely going to be
Yeah.
definitely the eye-opening aspect because now
Mhm.
you're talking going into 2024. Sometime, I mean, what do you say if they're 500 or better? That's a successful trip.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything above is playing with house money. Anything below it, then all of a sudden. But I mean, there's some tough things to make decisions about. I mean, if you really think about it, they're not that. And everyone's just saying about the standings and everything like that. If you look at the Metro is a tough, tough division.
It is.
Probably the
Yeah.
toughest from 1 to 8. I don't know how
Yep.
many teams are in each thing, but I mean, if you look at it right now, the Capitals just won in overtime, so they're
Mhm.
at 36 points. I mean, realistically, the Flyers are only 8 points ahead of Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's second from the bottom in the Metro.
Yep, 31 points. Yeah, Flyers sitting at
That's
39 right now.
that's one bad week or a week and a half of bad
One bad
games
week. Yep.
where all of a
Yep.
sudden everybody, and then you're back into that fourth, fifth, and then all of a sudden you're kind of going, okay, do we have a shot at the wild card?
Mhm.
And everything like that. But
Let
even the whole East, I think the whole East from top to bottom is actually very competitive, excluding a like maybe two or three. I think we can honestly say we can eliminate.
Yeah. Last question. We're going to the Flyers, and then we'll wrap this up. We'll get into the Eagles the next time around here because we could talk for another 35 minutes about the Eagles. So Travis Konechny right now in 31 games has 26 points. 16 of those are goals. He's sitting at a plus 12 right now. And then you can throw in those beautiful 36 penalty minutes for the scrapper. The second on points, this is where the problem is for the Flyers. Second most points on this roster, Travis Sanheim with 22 points. Couturier's got a 21. Farabee's got 11. Farabee has 20 points with 11 goals. Tippett's got 11 goals, 19 points, and Cam Atkinson since October 12th only has 8 goals. If you're the Flyers, man, and I've finally come around to this, I probably give an extension to Travis Konechny, and he's the franchise player for the next 5-6 years.
He's the next franchise player for 3 years.
3 years, okay.
And then
Why
the franchise
3?
and then the franchise
And
comes
then
over
okay, I'm sorry.
KHL. I mean, the
That's a
last
good
time
point.
the last time that I was on one of your podcasts, we were talking about the NHL draft and how they should go, and I was all over the KHL train.
Yeah.
And I just think we're seeing the real deal. I think we're seeing a generational talent. I think
Yep.
I don't know. I just think him, and I think that they've hit home
I
runs in
think
the
Cutter
last.
Gauthier is a stud too. Man.
I mean, they've just hit. I mean, I just feel like they've hit 2 home runs in the last 2 first-round draft picks, and we're just 2 years away, 2.5 years away from actually getting to see just what they have in store. I mean, you're talking about somebody on a Flyers team that mentality is, I'm going to shoot the puck.
It's fun to like. I think TK is the same way this year. I mean, it's very clear to me that John Tortorella got a hold of Travis Konechny and said, "Listen here, USOB. When you get the puck on your stick, just do whatever it takes to shoot it." And it's looking damn good for the Flyers and for TK. So you're right. We're 2 years away, man, from the landscape of the Flyers really changing, with Cutter Gauthier coming up, and then hopefully maybe even in 2 years you get Matvei Michkov coming up here. So we'll see how that whole thing shakes out. Hoping for the best. So all right, we're gonna wrap it up here. If you guys want to follow us anywhere at Ring the Bell 856 and all the socials, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell. Not this show, but ring the bell that pops up there so you can get all the notifications for when we're going to be on here streaming. The new flagship of this network launches in 2 weeks, week and a half. God, Christmas is already on Monday. So yeah, about 2 weeks, we'll be launching a new flagship, which is the Ring the Bell Show. We're keeping the name. We're not changing up. We're going to make it easy for everyone. And the fact that I really don't feel like coming up with a new name and doing all this new branding. So we're keeping it the way it is, the Ring the Bell Show. We're going to be talking about all Philadelphia sports, and I'm really looking forward to doing this. It's going to be exciting. We're all going to hate each other probably within the first 10 minutes of every episode, but everything will be fine. It's all an act. It's our gimmick, all right, where everything is all good. We map the whole thing out. Everything about these shows are completely staged. I'm just kidding. They're really not. But Jay, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for doing this. I've been trying to get you on here for so long, but you just keep evading me by working more. So stop doing all of that so we can do more of these streams. But yeah, thank you very much to everybody listening, watching, downloading. I really appreciate it. This thing continues to grow faster than I can really handle at the moment. So this is just super exciting. Again, head over to SeatGeek, head over to Manscaped, support our sponsors so they can keep supporting us. It's like it's a family thing here. But still they need the ROI. They need that return on investment. Head over SeatGeek on the bump. $20 off your very first ticket purchase. Over to manscaped.com right now. Baseball 20 for 20% off and free shipping off your order. I won't see you guys again until after Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I love you guys. Thank you very much for a tremendous year. I do know next week we are going to have a year-end show on the Ring the Bell Phillies. We're going to go over our favorite moments of the season. And we're just going to recap what was an incredible, incredible ride. This is technically Ring the Bell episode 90, but we're almost at that 100th show. So
syndication.
I think with episode 1, we're technically in internet syndication. So yeah, we're reaching syndication. So that's pretty badass. All right, Jay, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you later. Everybody else,
Absolutely.
have a great rest of your holiday season. If we don't see you or talk to you, but keep up to date with all of our socials to let you know what we're doing. Have a great one, everybody. We'll catch you down the road. Bye-bye.